call to order at 4:05. Okay. All right, this is you and I, Wendy. So I will put a motion forward to approve the attached minutes from the April 27th, 2022 meeting. I will second it. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, we're going to go right on to item C, which is website updates.
I can do a quick one. We did update that cost page, like we discussed last time, with the language that the subcommittee approved. We talked about adding a breakdown for the budget. We have not added that yet because we wanted to get past this design development approval so that we have the latest. I've been talking back and forth with CSG about how to best represent these numbers because we have a master list of all of the iterations this budget has gone through, which might get confusing, especially with the state saying the field house is in the,
Yes, it's a switch project.
we switch kind of how things are being, so we're just gonna do the latest, most recent once we approve it.
I think that gives us a good snapshot of where we are, which is probably most critical.
Exactly.
They just put that $14 million as part of the budget.
Yes,
Okay.
and we will have that information from the state, which does significantly impact the budget, which is the 30% rate.
Did they officially say the money's coming? Or?
It's in the budget implementer bill that was signed by the governor. A state representative, Mike D'Amico, came last night to the town council meeting and gave us the language that it's in there to say, here's the proof. We haven't received the letter from OSCGNR, but it was just signed
Over the weekend.
Yeah, on Monday, I think. Yeah.
Is there a way for us, I saw some buzz on social media about it, so somebody got the update from there, but wondering if maybe we want to put an update on our website, so it's not through social media. Is there a way we can?
Yes, I believe we address it in the Q&A.
Yes.
That's going out in the newsletter, and we can also update that on our website.
Yeah.
Once we approve a language here, we'll make sure the website Q&A reflects that.
Yeah, I think what you said here is fine because it's what you currently know, like this, how you use it, when it's used for, so I guess we discuss.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a new impact to our budget, so we just want to take a look at it. And what the reimbursement does is it reduces the net municipal cost.
Right.
We still are held to that 135 million. So we just want to make sure we're thoroughly looking at everything because we also do have impacts of inflation and escalation and those things. So at the end of the day, we are thrilled about the 30%. It is a great, it'll have a significant impact to our taxpayers. Right. Which is great. So we're very happy with that.
It's a positive.
So it's probably explaining that, it's all clarified.
Yeah, but we still need to wrap our heads around it too. It's relatively
Yeah,
new.
so, because I was looking at 14 million, I'm trying to see how people not sure, how does this work?
Yeah,
And why would it happen now? I don't know, kind of, so that might be prepared, but a lot of, put that more in the website,
yeah,
all that minutia. I think for the newsletter, it's fine.
Yeah,
Say
they're
that.
just the straight dollar amounts for now. And then conversations with more.
The 2 times I've seen it happen, some of the jobs, they just, lower the, the budget, the bonding.
Right.
And so forth, the taxes are affected by it. What I've seen 2 districts. But those were clerical, they weren't like $14 million, it's like $500,000 or $2 million.
I mean,
That's a lot of money.
yeah, our legislators worked very, very hard on this and they came through. I mean, they made us whole plus some. So we're very happy with that.
Remember, we were still debating on the 915.
Yeah.
We lost 915. What are we going to do? How are we going to, that covered that plus even
Yeah,
more.
it
So.
is. That's about it.
Well, I think all the escalation, people were empathetic or sympathetic to our costs as far as the language.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably what you explained to me. We can't cover costs of everything. What you got to say, well, let's look at proof of.
Right, exactly, is where we stand right now. Right. So I think to your point, Wendy, we'll have, if we approve this language, we can get that on the website and then we can talk to the full building committee on, here's the link. Like you could send people to this location to get any answer to that question if for some reason it comes directly to you.
At least somewhere people can go, so.
Yeah.
I think they were referring to, our town, local newspaper person, he was there.
Yes, exactly right. Yeah, so I think a lot of people are weighing in, a lot of people interpret pieces of information, which is understandable too, but
The
it's,
current
Yeah, I
article was
think
pretty
it's-
straightforward, I
Yeah.
thought. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know where people are.
yeah,
And
You'd
so many
be
people were
surprised.
complaining about the shortfall, I would think,
Some people might think this is
That-
sort of
yeah.
the annual town budget. I mean, you're gonna run into.
yeah, exactly.
It's like, oh, is that gonna say what's on our, this year's, budget for the town?
Right.
No.
But even, even the cost page itself is gonna address, oh, well, the project's over budget, well, we're not over budget. You know what I mean, like things like that, I just think, there's just a lot of information, and you could take one phrase out of something and apply it someplace, and it's not accurate, so anything would be to help.
Right, and that's why I think the narrative on our cost page is really
Right.
important to show all the work this committee has done to, okay, we got a revised cost estimate. We've worked really hard to keep this project in budget and, keep in mind that we're not cutting programmatic things. So those are, a lot of hard work has gone into that to keep the project on budget, despite the current environment we're in, right?
All right, anything else on website?
I don't, I was gonna bring up, wait, coming back to what you're saying, like, another rumors about possible costs, check the supply chain, is that? I mean, that just keeps coming out.
Yeah, and I think the last meeting where we approved some of that language about what our process is to address the cost escalation, we kind of talked through that, and I think that gives people a little bit more understanding that, okay, the project is not over budget. We've worked really hard to make some hard cuts, to bring it back within budget.
Yeah.
So I think that it's pointing people to that information that we've now made accessible. Like, we had a comment on our Facebook page that was, can you explain what an updated cost estimate means? I just directed them to that web page that was updated, and they gave them all the information they need in one spot.
right,
Right.
and it's consistent, if you don't answer the question, then you every time.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're gonna get some nitpickers, no matter what you do. but
Yeah.
Let's just go there, read it. If you need a translator, call us, what's trying to do it. Just keep it that simple.
And then the whole process, and maybe we can strengthen this part, the whole BE and add alternate process is common in projects. That's nothing new.
There's no.
I
part of
think
construction, right?
we're feeling it maybe a little bit more due to escalation,
Right.
but it's still a normal part of every building project.
It doesn't mean that it's a bad budget.
Correct.
So maybe that's something.
Maybe that's something
That's what I'm
that we
thinking,
can,
like, I
okay.
get that, like, we say the cost, I get that, but it just seems like.
Like,
Yeah.
keep
Yeah.
going. Yeah.
But even just.
Maybe we
that-
clarify, this is a normal part of the
This is
building process.
Part of the
I wonder if
process,
that
this
is-
is something that we're doing extra because.
We all have.
And we build in these,
That's a good point.
the escalation, where now we're at 8%, where the last budget, I think we were at 6%. In our initial budget, we were at 4%, so we're trying to, in real time, address that escalation to the best that we can.
Right, and every time you account for that, right, those are dollars you're spending on something that you have to take away. Those are things you have to spend less to put it more, to just pay more for the same stuff.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what the industry, what the market is unfortunately bearing for everybody, right? This is not every school project, every
Any
home project, every,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
going through it's going through.
Talk to any homeowner modifying the home. Small way to run through this too. Yeah, it always is that way, because people, once you start getting into the weeds of stuff, people start spending. So, but this way you approve, we're gonna spend more, you're taking things away. And you're just gonna get, as long as you just have a place where people will read it, and it's once in a while you get a phone call, just explain it to them.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you get really crazy, so I don't think it's.
I think people, are being diligent. I understand that's valid, sure to understand, and we're balancing a budget. That's really all we're doing is
Right.
balancing to a budget. But
Yeah, because at the end of the day, we won't know exactly until when it's gonna.
that's right.
And that's-
That's right.
It's an art and a science.
It is.
It really is building a building.
All right. So I think that would be helpful to just kind of maybe
Explain
a
that.
bit of,
Yeah, I think Some little Q&A can't probably know about.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the
You
$14
can
million?
answer that question specifically.
Yeah.
Let's see, or something. It's to- Why? Yeah, why are you doing this?
Well, simplistic.
I know, well, but that's the questions being asked, so really.
There's 3 apples are over here, we take 2 apples. We take an extra apple.
Yeah.
We're on our budget.
Okay, updates, website, everything's good. All right, so let's go on to newsletter era. You got those.
Yeah, okay, yeah, beat the bell here.
Minutes, I sent
You
my
did it.
submission in minutes before I walked in.
I was thinking we're B minus, you go B plus.
I'll take it.
I talked to Meg about adding a little more meat, we have more space.
Okay.
To talk a little what's in the newsletter, kind of talk a little about this stuff. You'll be hearing more about what this $14 million about, so you don't have to, it's just like people know you're cognizant of what's going on.
Yeah.
So we're just passing that on. So we decided going forward just to stick with this format, so when people get this, they get familiar, this is coming from the village.
Yeah.
So the front page will always be this, so they know it's coming from the village. We decided, unless the site map changes a little bit. Because we haven't sent over the other stuff, which is incomprehensible for a regular person. The architectural plans.
Yeah,
I mean, I
Very
could read,
detailed.
them, but, you'd need then a super translator.
Those are
This
just
is-
for backgrounds, you know, like.
Here's the
Right,
sewer
yeah,
line,
yeah.
that's where the sewer line is, the fence. So, but this is good enough, and it's just reminding it, so, and then Meg's comments a little bit more. Also, we should put in a box here, though, when the meeting is, where it's gonna be, the time. And also, we're gonna need the URL or we have a Zoom
the
meeting,
Zoom link, yeah.
link. So let's have that all available. It can to me by Monday.
Are
At the
Zoom
end of
links
the week.
ever short for someone to translate from? Are Zoom links ever short? You can
I mean,
QR code it.
We could do, typically when I shorten a link, I do a bit link.
Yeah.
But a lot of times that's still, it's like bit.ly and then sometimes like a bunch of numbers, which is
Yes.
almost just as hard to.
Right.
And a lot of people aren't using QR codes. too.
I would disagree. I think with COVID, people are used to,
Like
even older
menus
folks
and
who go to
menus.
a menu or information. I mean, you could do both. You can do
you
both.
can have a QR code and also show one.
Yeah.
QR code is the same.
I wouldn't eliminate the link because you may not. have
And people, I think, are used to seeing the full. And really, to join Zoom, all you need is just the last,
That's true.
you just need the webinar ID and you can just
The-
type
Right,
those
that's
in.
right,
Yeah.
That's fine.
Well, this will also be in here.
I forgot that.
Also, I'm gonna have a link to,
Yeah, because I was
Go to
just
the
looking at
website.
You
the-
click it, yeah, like if you don't have it, you can
you
just,
just go to the last.
you can just,
Correct, yeah.
like right here,
Yeah.
webinar, I
You're
highlighted,
right,
I
you
got it.
don't have to enter it.
And make it full invite, it'll say meeting ID or something.
Oh, yeah, the last, these numbers,
Yeah,
yeah,
Those
yeah,
numbers.
yeah,
The newsletter will be on the website, so they go click directly from that.
yeah.
And so then
Yeah.
afterward, then enter, if they don't want to sit here, you want to click, just go here, go here, it'll take you to the website, and you can click on it.
Yeah, and in addition to,
Again, the town
including it in the newsletter, we can do our other typical marketing things, which is, we can do an Everbridge, we can do a Friday folder specific, like a flyer for this at the
Right.
schools. We can do a lot of things to advertise that meeting. This newsletter is just one way to do that.
That's right, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Well, we were in our.
Think of it last year.
Second is a Thursday. Do I have that?
Yeah, you said first or second, Kat, I thought, give us an extra day, because it's going out a little
And
late.
I like June second because that is almost to the day
Yeah.
from the referendum.
Yeah, we should put.
But June third is a Friday, and nobody's gonna wanna go on that Friday.
Right, and
Close
so we're
enough.
talking about like what time?
It's a good time to, 6 o'clock. 6, 7, people are staying, summer's always a little later. Your call.
I would say 6 or 6:30.
Okay.
All right, 6.
And we're gonna do this at the, town council.
I'll check to see if it's available, other, committees may already have that book, so I'll see that, I would say as a potential, maybe Scott can help too, if town council chambers isn't available, we could do the auditorium or here, the library, or the gym, like some location at the high school, or the library, like, we have a lot of options. We could do the senior center, we don't have to physically be in the building
Library.
anymore.
That's
Yeah.
pretty.
That is a big,
It's pretty big, Jay Johnson.
The community room is actually a good size, yeah.
but they they do have a hard, remember the announcements
yeah.
during our meeting? I don't think this would go that late.
Yeah, they started.
I think we should put up without it, to be honest with you. I think
Well,
we should be,
well,
you know
whatever,
what I
just,
mean,
you know.
like 6 o'clock start, I don't know what, like, yeah. I know, like half hour presentation, half hour questions, I don't know if that's right, but I don't even know like how much. I don't think any more than 30 minutes of presentation right now.
No,
Because people are gonna,
I think this is more of a Q and A, and you're gonna get a lot of questions about the 14th. I think that's what it's gonna turn into. What's gonna happen over the summer, explain it a little more namely, how that,
Yeah.
you know, if we have a little bit more saying, it'll be disruptive, but not, can't, you know.
Traffic patterns,
intolerable.
here's how the new traffic patterns are gonna go.
Yeah, just let people know, I guess in the fall time, stuff like that. That's also, I think it should be more of a Q and A.
probably should check with Scott if there's any other big school events.
Events, yeah, it's the end of the school year.
Summer concert series.
Scott,
When's
anything,
your graduation?
Scott, is there anything that you're aware of, June 2nd, from a school perspective?
Thursday, right?
Thursday?
No, what did she say they started?
Scott on?
Yeah. Start after school.
Yeah, I think after.
They might, but they are on Thursdays.
Yeah, I'm here. June 2nd.
And then it's not urgent, but like if it happened to like, you got something to look at real quick.
Yeah, all I have on my calendar, we have the Superintendent's Athletics Advisory Council, which is just a meeting, you know, it's a board appointed committee, but that's a Zoom meeting that I see on my calendar right now.
Yeah, concerts don't start till June 23rd.
Okay.
All right.
Graduation's the following week.
What's graduation, Scott?
Tuesday, June 14th.
Oh, yeah.
I do the late
Oh, yeah.
shift, I go to 2:30 in the morning. Nobody ever wants to.
So you're at police.
Last year I was on the door, can you imagine?
There's
Me.
yours.
I
All right.
was like, maybe people want to, kids want to go out. Can't, it's not my thing, but. I know that. I certainly was.
A reverse bounce here.
Yeah, exactly, instead of throwing it out there, she can keep that right.
We had a good time. This was, I mean, Cat went through that, I just remember this. The only thing we have a blank space there is on this BE and.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're approving
today.
tonight.
Okay.
Are we gonna put down the groundbreaking? That's another big question that keeps coming up. When's groundbreaking? When are they gonna do?
I don't know if we're ready to commit to a specific
Date.
Didn't we say last time?
October.
We're good with.
We're good.
Wendy, I
Narrowed
stuck it,
down
it's
to
gonna
a
be in
month.
the calendar. In there, I said add anticipated groundbreaking October.
Okay.
So.
So we had something.
Something,
Yeah.
it's in here, Wendy.
It's been defined from fall. So we're making. our-
Well, this is-
Slowly.
So,
This newsletter also is gonna go out full time, putting all the groundbreaking stuff in
yes.
prior to it, Wendy, so this is,
Okay.
they'll get plenty of notice both ways.
So we'll probably do like another one in September.
Yeah, I think we'll do one, so to be, they'll get it a couple of weeks before, so people, whatever we plan for, let them know what's going on.
Okay.
But I stuck a note in there, on the chart, so we'll put that in our chart. Sitting right there, it said, if you look on that page, anticipated October. I didn't put a date, but I figured, as long as we're getting in August, you just pick a date. That then you probably know better than put it on. I assume all the plans will be in place.
Yeah,
And we'll be able
we'll
to
be
put some of that
up-to-date
in
by
there.
then.
And that might be a bigger newsletter. Where we actually are putting in the plans and more detail and explain inside of the building, which we haven't really done. Okay. And then I have, building committee members, non-voting members. So check, I think, spell everything correctly. Send over to its Pat. And then the dates and the timeline committee meetings, that's the last page. Next one and this one here. The meetings are, contact info. And we'll put another box in here too, on the back, since they get it about the June meeting.
Yeah, just like.
So I'm gonna have one on the front page, one on the back, just in case I miss it. And that's pretty much it. I don't see anything else. And I think that, Devin, you can then take this and just put this right up on the website.
Yeah.
Q&A and everything, all your budget, so it's all gonna be, nice and tight. Site map hasn't changed, has it, Mark?
No, I mean, well,
I mean, I'm from the newsletter, which is still the same site map, right?
We'll see what was presented to TPC, that would be the most.
yeah, that would be the most recent. I mean, there is the site map that has the,
Is that close enough, or is it stuff with really the make
There are some changes, like the roundabout service.
Oh, yeah,
Is there a new one, are they gonna do a new one of these renderings?
I think we have one that we
Yeah.
presented to TPC.
right,
Yeah, we
Oh,
have
I
an
did-
updated.
Send that over to me.
Yeah.
I don't have
there
that.
would be one without the field, but that won't
Okay,
change
thank you.
the structure. boundary.
Yeah,
That's okay.
But basically, it's just here, just with modifications.
Yeah, we can put that same note, that obviously, I think.
and we'll put like, as of, it was like March 2022,
Yeah.
we'll have a
Now,
disclaimer.
do you want to put a little note about the 1928 building saying, if you want to read more about that, go here, is there something on the town website? talking about
The
that?
committee was formed last night, so there hasn't been a web page created yet. I'd like to hear everybody's ideas about this. I think we've tried very hard to keep them separate.
Right.
So I think the town is going to kind of, with the committee getting up and going, they're gonna be doing their own notifications and, information. So I'm almost like, let's keep it off.
They can always.
Well,
But
maybe-
I'm open to discussion about that.
No, I think maybe wait till fall
That's fine.
time,
Yeah.
let's do a more organized cat.
Yeah.
And then say sentence, if you want information, what's going on 28, go here.
Yeah.
And just, so, just.
And it could be an FAQ, is the 1928 building the same as the?
I mean, I'd almost rather have a Q&A on the website with that, and then we can link it directly to
That's
the
right.
town's
Just say-
webpage instead of putting it in.
Yeah,
No,
I
I
think
think the
yeah.
committees are separate, if you're interested in learning more about the 1928 building.
Yeah, just go here, that's all.
Yeah, and that had that, again, literally,
You don't want it
Less
to
than
seem like a
24 hours.
subset of what we're doing.
But you also,
right,
you also
yeah.
want to ignore it because it's an easy thing.
yeah,
Um,
it's a big discussion in town.
Yeah,
but-
so it's, don't bother us here, go here.
Well, and I think, I'm thinking like your community member, you might type in FHS building project to find out about it. So, I mean,
Sure.
from a town perspective, we want to make sure that communication is seamless as we can make
Right,
it,
I think
so-
maybe it's just a question, like,
Yeah.
where can I find information about the 1928
Yeah.
building? And then we direct them to
That's right.
we could do it to the ad hoc committee page, which is the survey, and then once a page is established for the new committee, right there. Yeah.
It was interesting, I read the survey and the results. And, it'd be interesting to see the demographics, they didn't put demographic information.
Yeah, they,
It did,
They
I
did.
did I see it? Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It wasn't too far off from the one we did in the town.
correct.
Almost the same people, almost gathered, people who do survey work.
Probably, especially specific to this topic.
Yeah, okay. That was my only other question, so why don't we just say that for the next?
Yeah, if we're gonna do anything with it, then we can handle it.
Yeah, that's right. That's it, all I can see here, in terms of doing,
It makes sense, I don't think there's any.
So Ira, our game plan for this would be to try to get it,
we laid out, you get it early next week, approve it.
Yeah.
It's gonna print and go out the week of the 23rd.
perfect, and then that gives
Then
people an
everyone gets
opportunity
it,
to
and
see
then,
it.
and then once we have all the information, they can arrange. So I would shoot for next Monday or Tuesday, the latest, so we can
Yeah, that
fill
should
in
be,
about the information.
I mean, it shouldn't be too much.
No.
We took a look at it here, it's just gonna be maybe adding a little bit more to Megs and some of the layout.
And we're planning to have a meeting,
Yeah, and then I can get that.
and then, I can work with you guys on the slide deck.
Yeah, I was thinking, we do have a meeting scheduled for the 25th, which is before our next building committee, maybe we could discuss presentation at
Right.
for the second.
Just gonna do
Yeah,
one.
let's use that and see exactly what we want to focus on, what's critical.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of just bringing everyone up to snuff.
Yeah,
Say, here's what's going forward, what's going on. A lot of, it's actually almost repeating.
a lot of it's.
People like audio visual stuff.
Yeah.
And
Well,
there's
I
people
think-
just like to read stuff, and people want to hear stuff. We call them the four quadrants.
think, you know, as much as we think there's been a lot out there, there's a survey, there's now enable, there's all of this. There's some people who thought so. Yeah, maybe now that they know things are starting, they'll start.
I would say, in your case here, you're right, I would say 40, around 30, 40% are aware of this, more than just a passing, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
Most projects you start out, and we're doing a Cromwell, we're estimating 4 to 5%, that's all. Those projects. Going into a referendum,
Off the battle.
Yeah, that is.
the kiss of death.
I mean, we do try, we did send that last newsletter out, and every town newsletter we do for a year, there's, we try to get it right on the front page, the district's newsletter.
Well, I'm working with Kathleen about their newsletter now.
Yeah,
So this will be, whatever information will be included, whatever, to link, and also show us as a statement about the project.
Yeah.
It's on the front page.
yeah, so we're all trying to keep it top of mind as much as we can.
Well, and I'm wondering, we'll probably get more media coverage, like around groundbreaking, things like
Oh,
that.
yeah,
So that also might be some trigger.
Yeah, I think the groundbreaking is where you got that's a great visual.
Yeah.
Then you start thinking of kind of posters, put up, giveaway, things that are just give people more juice.
Lots of liver hogs.
So, Scott.
When's the next order, Scott?
I know.
Have we commissioned a river pump stuff animal?
Not yet, but
No weenie babies?
no beanie babies yet. We'll see what we can fit in now. I gotta look at some hard hats though, that came out pretty nice.
Oh, nice.
Wearing a hard hat.
Oh,
That's right.
The mascot.
Even the mascot
Yeah.
running around.
Yeah, the mascot stuff.
Yeah, go ahead and do a class.
Strapping up.
Velcro or something.
Is it subcommittee for the, that meeting or?
We've talked about it. We have to.
Yeah, it's
Maybe-
us.
I think we wanted to open it up a little bit more.
Yeah. There's some community members that have expressed interest to me, so,
I think that'd be great.
maybe there's a way we could somehow incorporate that.
Yeah, I
Probably
mean,
a subset
We can
of
join if
us,
we
yeah,
want. Oh,
absolutely.
absolutely.
Please,
Yeah.
please do.
I mean, I've seen short ones and long ones. And you don't want the long ones,
Yeah,
because you can have 20 speakers.
no, we don't.
You want speakers that represent certain things. You got the board chair, you're gonna have, Meg, the board chair, and make it superintendent. Principal people should say something. And then you always want to have a teacher. And you break down a student who's going to be going into 9th grade, looking forward to it. That's the future. And you get someone, you can find the oldest alumni in town. Saying, I live in this town, that was from. Those are great images. Those are stories. So these things you want to have a little story with it. So it isn't just like, let's just get this over with. You want to use it for people to walk away feeling emotionally attached. That's what a groundbreaking is about.
Yeah, so we should start,
Right after. so-
You don't want to do.
Yeah.
No,
maybe we
exactly.
can announce it, do a little pitch at our Zoom meeting for,
People to
For
see if
people.
they're interested. We just have to figure out like how they.
We want it to be big.
I think I would have them submit, like we could create a
Like we've
Google
done
form, create a Google form and see what interest is out there.
Yeah,
and then
just
we
like
can-
for a few more.
Yeah.
For a few people
You can-
to
you can
join.
look
If there are a few more spots for our.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, we're
Yeah, we
selecting
already had a
three
committee. we just
community
need to-
members.
Few members graduate.
Are the
You know,
people-
good.
Are the people who asked, people with experience with this kind of thing, or?
Just engaged, people who've engaged in the project to date, so some people that were involved in the referendum work and
Yeah.
things like that, so I think
That
that
would
is
be
a
great.
nice connection.
It is a
But
nice,
to your
like-
point, it'd be nice to have somebody.
Well, you can,
Everybody's
actually, you
working
can do is you have, when you're on,
Yeah,
it, invite
somebody
people as
who's
guests,
decorating.
and you mention your name, because
Yeah.
not everyone can speak.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So you have them, so we want to recognize, we love to have you, but we want to, we take a big group picture, and you can hang. I mean, that's how you handle, the people, I'm gonna say on the peripheral, but, because you have so many people involved. You
Yeah,
have the principals, but more important is getting a teacher and a student. That's the emotional side. You really want to help there and let them tell. Those are the best ones I've seen. It could be a current teacher. Current teacher lives in town and teaches here. Kids go through school. That's an ideal representative.
Yeah,
And that would be good. And then you can have a really, really old alumni. I've seen everything in our town. This is really proud. This is all right. My family, my grandkids are here. That's the other side of it too. Because a groundbreaking, I mean, you know, then you have to shovel and put it around. Sometimes you have to do those. The other thing you want to think about, one district I did this was very clever. When the building gets dedicated, you put a time capsule. And when you put the plans in, notes to the future, could be open in 25 or 50 years. And so that's the legacy. Here's what it was like when we opened the building. They usually put it near a flag pole. There's a flag pole outside. That's where you bury the time capsule. I'm just.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Well, you guys do like a groundbreaking subcommittee, and then that maybe create a committee that ties in and carries on to education.
Yeah, I'd probably tap into the same.
Yeah.
Or just a group, 'cause, I mean, I know you're giving us a great idea, but I'm also thinking the subcommittee would be more than just who's speaking, but planning, like, would the students have to submit like an essay to explain why they want to be the.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Application, or
I think they would do
that whole
that
selection.
in the time, like,
Yeah.
this is our itinerary for the whole ceremony,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you're speaking from this to this. Like, I think we need a group to plan, like, the nuts and bolts of it. That's like,
Well, the
And
other
also
thing-
run down.
The other thing we arranged too was having people who went through the high school over the years, graduate 25, 50 years ago, whatever. They submitted to the local newspaper. And they submitted to the local newspaper. And they talked about their experience being in high school.
I'm coming up 25 years, but I can also give you guys connections of a lot of my peers that graduated and their kids are in school.
Yeah.
Well, I think what it is that we're seeing with the schools, because of work, I work with so many, is giving context why public education is important. Even the generations gone through it, they might have had a different learning experience, but why they live in the town, why it's important. And they kind of look at it as their legacy. Isn't it great we got this building now and the evolution of the kids coming through our great town, learning here. And that's why you do this stuff. So it beats the crappy noise that's out. Public schools get beat up over everything. CRT, I don't like the way you name your school, and what kind of books you have in the library. So the only way you overcome that is people with positive stories. And so you're actually right. When we keep the stories going about positive stuff, you know it's soft. It really has an effect on people when they share their,
Right, like the school was
you know,
valuable
the-
for them.
the value of the
and
culture.
Now we continue that
it's,
legacy,
yeah,
take
it's,
care of our.
yeah, it's just all legacy stuff. And I think people look for context. We're just seeing it all the time. They're losing context of what goes on in the community. They look at everything, what's the next thing versus the continuity. We say called the continuity of culture. And this came out of all the work I did with Margaret Mead. That villages and communities and civilizations survive continuity of culture. So it breaks down, that's why we have problems. And education and healthcare are always the major ones. They got to be stable. That's where society is sort of disrupted. School more than anything today probably needs everyone to support. I don't think your town is anywhere close to any of that stuff. But what some districts are dealing with is brutal dealing with some of this stuff. Anyway,
Yeah, there's a ton of people.
Yeah.
That's the whole career.
I think people want to hear some good stuff. Yeah, they call, I want to listen to it.
Yeah.
More than say much.
All right, so I will get you some more words,
Yes, give me more.
tomorrow. I should get you tomorrow. Is that all right?
100 words is fine. I'll count.
I'm confident.
I know.
Yeah, I'll beat that and get it to you tomorrow, and that way you can fill that in, because I think you probably have to start blocking it out and all that one, so.
Now, the other thing I'm going to bring up here, which goes to the building, Mark, is there going to be a video camera on the site for security?
We'll probably have a camera on for security. I don't know how in depth they want to go beyond that, right? We have a vendor that emails us every day to tell us why we have to have their service. But we continue to tell them that, we'll have a security camera. But so the short answer is yes. Yeah,
I mean, good to have a
Maybe we can try to
camera
do like a
overseeing,
time lapse or
overseeing
something
the stuff,
like that.
yeah. What I'm thinking of is you have a time lapse that shows the building. coming
Yeah,
up.
oh, we need that, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I just had that as a note out here. Is there net community TV, anything going on there, talking about what's going on?
Because, I mean, we can.
I mean, do they have a community section, something like they can get on, say, this is what's going on? It's reaching the seniors.
You can.
You can reach out to them, right?
They'll do like an interview.
They'll bring you in and then they'll run it in their booth.
Maybe the newsletter comes out, you know, or record what we're doing, pass it on. This meeting will have. Yeah, did you? Yeah. no, facility, so that time.
Yeah, I mean, they do it for our town council meeting, so I can reach out to them. Right now, they just tap into our Zoom feed. I can actually have them potentially, I mean, there would be a good cost associated with it, but I could have them run this technology for the Zoom meeting, and then they would host it and everything.
I'm just
You
gonna
could
check,
link, yeah, it would be a link on their website and they might. run
And they would put it on
there.
the, yeah.
I'm just going to our checklist, I want to, that's gone through, 2 or 3 years. Because what we're talking, when to keep the story going. So it isn't always, now we're getting the I-beams and, brick and what the materials are gonna be, all the nuts and bolts of it. They keep the parallel story about what it means. Do they have everything all set up in terms of programming inside, in terms of, as I know, Scott? The programming inside, space allocation.
Sorry, what's that, Ira?
I know you work internally. Do you have the programming set up yet for what's going to happen inside the space as they're building and designing it out?
Like what's going to be where?
Or, yeah, I mean, we had it on the big poster a little bit.
Yeah, so the short answer is yes, the spaces are identified and we're still working with end users to identify how those spaces will be laid out. So which cabinets are gonna go where, how they're gonna utilize the space, equipment in the spaces, but the programming itself, I think, Scott, wouldn't you agree, is for the most part set?
Yeah, no, we know we have a sense of where things are. As Mark said, right now we're working through, trying to figure out what comes with us, what do we need that's new, those kinds of things in terms of those spaces. But we know, pretty much everything else at this juncture.
Because what we want to do, and going forward as the building plans are all done, is spend a little bit more how the spaces are going to be utilized and work differently. And that's the programming side of things.
Sure.
So we want to have more of that going forward and saying, okay, here's what's construction, but because we have done other than that large poster we did, you might want to take a look at that, Mark, and say, do we have to modify? Was that language still good? Because we might want to revisit that, put that up. Because all those spaces we did on that. big
Yeah, I
poster.
think for the most part, that should still hold.
Yeah.
I think we'll still take another look at it, but we haven't impacted programming.
No, we really haven't, and I think that, the benefit to having the town requirement of a, schematic design at pre-referendum versus conceptual, means a lot of that's already been established.
Right.
A lot of work had already been put into it before we went to.
So there's not much change, just reminding people.
Yeah,
That's all. I
and
just
it's
wanted
all
to-
based off of the ed specs.
We really haven't taken this space and moved it over here. We have, the way that the three educational blocks are the same. Right, Richard, I think there's really not much that we've changed.
Yeah, safety, security,
programmatically.
most go back to those two.
No, we really haven't.
Their circulation, all the stuff that on people's minds. But I mean, just like going forward, I think we're providing more information on the future communication,
Yes.
presentations. It's talking now, we're talking about what it is, and now we're going to talk about how it functions.
Yeah,
So going into how now versus what.
Yeah.
And what. So we have why and what, and now we're going to talk about how.
Yeah.
Forward. How's this all coming together? Improvements. Trying to kids are graduating fine, they're going on, but how does that change? Does it change at all? How do we just kind of think, or provide just more opportunity for kids or before we could do it. Okay. Thank you. I just take my notes.
Yeah,
No,
no,
My job
absolutely.
is always like, what's a year ahead? What's a year ahead?
Right. All right, any other questions on newsletter? I think we got a good plan of attack. Something good there. Any other business that we need to? Is that right? No?
So we'll have our meeting next time, and I think our focus should be the presentation for the second.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly,
What's
exactly.
that,
So,
what's that, we're doing that?
That's the 25th.
I'll be long.
Ju-
Go ahead, Scott.
Just wanted to add briefly that we're all set. Tuesday, May 31st, we are going to host a live forum for students, and that will be for middle school and high school students, and we'll just give an overview of where we're at now of some of the adaptations and changes to the routines for next year, and getting the students acclimated to what the site might look like and those kinds of things. And then we've already communicated a date to families in mid-August. Again, that's internal high school communications, but just so the committee's aware. And at that time, again, that'll be a chance for us to give an update in terms of really trying to communicate the impact, less about the outcome of the project and more about the impact of the project in its current state. So those two things are scheduled on our end, and again, we'll handle those from the high school.
Are you recording that?
Yes. Yeah, we'll record that. Both of them.
Because it might be good information we can migrate into.
Yeah, I guess was for Meg that we could probably use some of that information, Scott, you're presenting.
Yeah. that's
In that community meeting.
Perfect. Yep, that sounds great.
I don't think they need to know the nuts and bolts exactly of where to go for drop off, but I think higher level view.
Yeah, about, what's it gonna be and why it's, particularly kids coming in.
Some kind of cross communication there too, even if it's like we mentioned something on the webpage for more information about this, go
Right.
here. You know what I mean? We've got a lot of spots. I think we just need to be careful that wherever somebody lands, they can get to the information that they're looking
Yeah, the
for.
website
That's the
still
frustration.
is next to daily newspaper.
Yeah.
Think of the website as the daily, so whatever's going on, organize it, get it posted. You want something, here's the way it is.
Yeah.
Because, we always can do something for the kids.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying coordinated across other meetings. So if Scott's updates exist on the high school site, those high school pages, there's ways we can kind
Point
of
of
send
there.
people in the right direction. Because I would know, obviously, because I'm on the committee, but as a parent,
Yeah.
I have a couple choices on where I can go, as long as we give people to the information. I think we should try hard to do that.
Scott, one more question. Is there going to be major or modified curriculum changes due to the new building that aren't going on here?
Expansion type thing.
No, I think the biggest change is we're not going to see. Oh, and you mean as it relates to the new high school?
Right.
Yeah, I think, I mean, we have plans to add a culinary program. So that is something that hasn't been functioning and in play at FHS for a very long time. I would say is the biggest add-on program. We're also adding robotics and some better space for STEM and STEAM activities that right now are offsite. So those are a couple of the major programmatic shifts. And then I think just the layout of the building and the classrooms is gonna allow us to lean further into our framework for teaching and learning and be more conducive for that.
Is that, you're going to discuss that on May 31st? Those things?
I think we could allude to those. Am I going to discuss that with the students? No, I really, right now, what the students care most about is what my current students care most about, like, where am I going to park? How am I, those kinds of things. So I think at this juncture, I'll touch on the excitement of the outcome of the project, but my overarching goal to communicate with kids at this point is things they should be prepared for and some of the shifts that are going to take place for them in the immediacy.
You do a similar thing for parents?
I'm sorry, am I gonna do what with parents?
Or to parents.
Yeah, we're gonna communicate. Well, I'll have that recorded, but we plan to wait until August to do that communication with parents. That way I'll have a better sense of what's actually happening on the campus. You know, I expect things to go as planned, but we're gonna do that mid-August. We have that set up.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But the parents are gonna know, like, right when I'm ready to go back, probably, you know, they're gonna wanna know in August, okay, now what do I need to do that different?
I don't know, if this would answer your question, Ira, but Scott, does it take a few years for you guys before you put a course into the program of studies?
I'm sorry, that broke out there. Can you repeat that?
Asking about the culinary, but I didn't know in your school, I know in my school was a new course, it takes a couple of years before it gets into the program of studies. So I wasn't sure, I know you're talking about culinary, but I would assume it might take some time before that even gets into the course selection for the students.
Yeah, because he listed 3 or 4 things we're able to do that a little harder to do here.
Right.
Offsite.
But I guess, I mean, it's more of a programs.
Yeah, that's what I meant with parents, the programming side. And I mean, right now it's a little early, but probably somewhere next year, whatever, get more detail about.
Yeah, well, there's going to be several, impacts in terms of the board operation as something like culinary goes on or comes on board. So, the overarching department that it's housed under, it's going to have faculty implications, curriculum writing implications. So all those things are yet to come.
We're good, right? Give us all a little bit of a break before we start on the clock, so I'll put a forward motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned or second?
Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Approved at 4:52.